on the precautions to take while browsing the deep web and showing you how to properly configure Tor on multiple Linux distros and the Windows operating system. In addition, we will also be taking you through the installation process of popular security-based operating systems like QubesOS and TailsOS. We will cover all aspects of the deep web, from the search engines to the deep web social networks. We will also cover how you can install and access Tor on your Android device. And in addition to all of that, the course will be updated every week with newer and newer content. So I urge you to join us today and let's get browsing. Thank you. Hello everyone and welcome to the first video in the first section of the course. And in this video what we're going to be looking at is basically what the deep web is and what are the differences between the deep web, the dark net and the clear web. So let's get started. So basically the deep web, or it's also known as the invisible web or the hidden web, are parts of the World Wide Web whose contents are not indexed by standard search engines or cannot be indexed by web crawlers. So that means that you can't really find this information using the standard search engines, and it is estimated that the deep web makes up 96% of the entire internet, and that's really a lot when you come to scale how big the surface web really is. Now let me explain the differences with the help of this image right here. Very nice image that'll hopefully explain everything clearly. So before we go into the differences, let's actually look at a very key thing here. Now the term deep web and dark web are often interchanged with each other, but they are not the same thing. The deep web simply refers to anything on the deep web that can't be found using a search engine. And as you can see from this image right here, let's start explaining what the differences really are. So the surface web is every website that you use on a daily basis. For example, you can be using YouTube, Google, etc. These are basically sites that can be accessed through a link. For example, if I search for example the name of a video on Google, the title of YouTube, the YouTube video will actually show up right there, and that means that it can be indexed through a search engine or can be accessed through web crawlers. Now the deep web contains information or things that are private, and anything that has security or authentication in order to access it. For example, we have emails, Dropbox, social media, and information that cannot be accessed with web crawlers or search engines. Now let me explain what this means. If I went to Google and I searched for the title of an email with the recipient name, I guarantee it's not going to come out, and that's because it's not going to come up, and that's because it cannot index emails because it requires a certain level of authentication. And this is what I wanted to explain to you. Many people we want to basically access the deep web, and they really don't understand that the deep web is also part of the clear web, but slightly different. Now the dark web contains things that are purposely hidden, not necessarily for security reasons, and requires special software to access it, which we'll be discussing later in this course. And the example of that is Tor. We need the Tor browser to access the darknet, because those are basically sites that are purposely hidden so that basically you can't index them with a search engine on the deep web and the surface web. So that's basically it. We basically interchange these two terms together, but in essence they are all the same because they cannot be indexed through a search engine. Alright, so that's basically it for the first video. Hope you guys found this interesting. If you have any questions, just enter them in the Q&A section. Hello everybody and welcome to the second video in the first section. And in this video we're going to be looking at the common misconceptions and myths regarding the deep web or the dark net or dark web. So let's get started. So basically one of the most common myths that you'll find is that the deep web is illegal to access and that you may get arrested or the FBI may come and knock at your door. Now, well, that is a very unique type of claim, especially since accessing the deep web is legal and the software used to access the deep web or the dark net, which is the Tor browser, is actually free and it's legal to use. The only thing is that the police are trying to track down, or the FBI or any law enforcement agency are tracking down people who are doing malicious things on the deep web. They're not targeting everyone accessing the deep web. So really that's a very easy myth to bust. And you might find that in some countries that have certain level of censorship on the internet, for example North Korea, those type of countries will not have access to even the clear net or the normal internet, and that's really much more focused on countries that do not allow internet at all. Now the second myth is that it is dangerous to access, in the sense that it's more risky, and there's a higher chance that your system will be infected. And that's not true at all, because statistics prove that the clear web, it has more threats in terms of threatening your computer or your identity, in the sense that there's so much malware on the clear web in forms of downloads, torrents, and the works really. So the third one is that you will be targeted or hacked, and that the risk of you being hacked is very high. Now the deep web, as I said, every part of the internet has its advantages and disadvantages. Now the deep web is only dangerous on certain malicious websites, certain sites that you may visit if you have the wrong intent. And as I've mentioned before, it's all about the sites that you visit. If you visit a dangerous site, then the risk of you being hacked gets higher. So it really is up to you and whether or not you want to get hacked. Now the fourth one, which is also quite a very important one, is it's only for criminals. Now the deep web is used by more than 2 million people every day, and almost all of these people use it for communication and anonymity. For example, it's used by journalists who want to basically post stories or post whatever information that they have anonymously. So really the deep web is used for good. It's not like it's not. Now I think this is one of the most interesting ones. It's the fifth one, and that the fact that red rooms are real, or red rooms exist. Now, if you guys don't know what red rooms are basically websites that will provide a live stream to a murder of a human being. Now, that may seem very vile, but there's no evidence to say that these red rooms exist. And I'm going to explain to you why they can't exist, technically speaking. So that the basic thing is that if you're going to live stream on the Tor relay, there is no way you're going to be able to do that, because the Tor relay has very slow internet connection speed, which we will see in the future videos. But basically the speed is so slow because the traffic is routed through the Tor relays. So you really can't live stream. Even at the lowest quality of video, it will be unplayable or unwatchable. So for that reason, red rooms aren't real, and there isn't evidence to support that. So the last one is that most of the sites are basically scary or malicious in nature. And that is absolutely not true, because if you look at the deep web through statistical analysis, you will see that about 60% of the websites on the deep web through an audit are more information driven websites. For example, 20% of the sites are blogs and forums. 40% of the sites have basically information and are carrying information on them. The other sites that we see, the malicious sites that, for example, are selling drugs and or counterfeiting money and legal documents, those are very few. I think about 3% of the time you will find them, and most of them aren't really malicious and are just fakes created by people to rob you of your money. So that's basically it for this video, guys. If you have any questions or you have anything you want to ask me, just let me know in the Q&A section of the course. Thank you so much for watching. Hello everybody, and welcome back to the third class of the first section. And in this video we're going to be looking at how Tor works, what Tor is and how it works. So basically Tor is the relay of networks that we're going to be using to connect to the deep web or the dark net. Now Tor basically means the onion router. So let's get started. So basically let's understand how Tor works. So Tor is a proxy, a system, a series of proxies that is used to anonymize communication over the internet. Alright, so Tor, the onion router, uses the Tor browser, which as I said is the tool that we're going to be using to browse the deep web or the dark net. So it encrypts data using the onion routing system, which is basically a layer of proxies that will shield your traffic as you're browsing the deep web or darknet. Now, as you can see, this is you. Basically, you are the Tor client. Now, the Tor client is going to go through a node. All right, the first node is always going to be it's going to be permanent. It's going to be the same node every time. I'll explain what a node means later. So basically, this is the entry guard, which is the first node. Now, the first node is going to communicate randomly to the second node. All right, now because of this randomization of the connectivity from the first to the second and to the third, that's why you're always going to have a unique and different IP address all the time. So it's going to communicate to the middle relay, which is the second node, which will then randomly choose the third node out of, you can see, out of 1,000 nodes that Tor has. So basically what's happening here is your computer is going to connect to a node, the permanent, the primary, the first node on the Tor network, and then that one is going to randomly connect to one out of 1,000 other nodes, which is then going to connect to another one out of 1,000 nodes. So it's basically just randomizing your connection and shielding it through basically these different nodes under the different IP addresses, and finally you reach the destination, which is basically the server on which the website you're visiting is hosted. So as you can see, there's actually a key here on this chart, the encrypted by Tor, which is the green line, which, as I mentioned over here. So once it reaches the exit relay, which is the third and final node, and when it's the information is traveling to and from the third node to the server on which the website you're visiting is hosted, that is actually not encrypted. So that really doesn't matter, because at this point the data being transferred has nothing related to you, except for one part which I will discuss in the anonymity section of this course later on. So basically that's how it works. I have one more image here that I want to just show you how it works. So basically as I said over here, it's going to have your computer. This is you right here, and basically you're going to connect to the first node. This node is going to randomly select another node, and that's going to select another random node, and then you have your exit node, which actually takes you to the website that you wanted to visit. So pretty simple to understand how Tor is doing this, and how it's shielding your information, and how it's keeping you anonymous on the deep web, or the the darknet, excuse me. So that's basically it for this video, guys. If you have any questions or you want to ask me anything, just let me know in the Q&A section of the course. Thanks for watching. Hello everybody, and welcome to the fourth video in this first section. And in this video we're going to be looking at PGP, which basically is an encryption system that is used on the deep web, or actually is a very good encryption system that should be understood in order for you to communicate safely and securely across the deep web. So what does PGP mean? PGP basically stands for pretty good privacy, and that is a pretty good abbreviation, I must say. So let's get started. Getting started, let's understand what PGP is. So PGP, as I said, is pretty good encryption. It is a way to encrypt messages online, which I will get to in the future videos. So basically, it's used to encrypt email, texts, files, and more. And it is used on the deep web to share information that is sensitive or private. As I said before, it's a very good encryption service. It is the closest to military-grade encryption. As I said, it's one of the best ways of encrypting data and sending it across the deep web, which is how it is done primarily. And I'm going to be showing you how to do that in the future videos later on in the course. So let's understand how it works in detail. So I have this very, very nice image here, and it's basically saying, how does PGP work? Forget about this GPG, that's just the opposite abbreviation. But basically, meet Sasha and John. Now, here we have Sasha, who wants to write a message to John, okay, and the message is hello. So she encrypts the message with John's public key. So basically, John has sent her his public key, and she has encrypted the message with a public key, and then she has sent the encrypted message through basically the deep web or the dark net, and John then receives the encrypted message or file, and then decrypts it with his private key, which only he has. and only he can read the message then, which is hello. So it doesn't matter if the message is intercepted in the middle right here, when it's being transferred across the deep web or the darknet. As long as he has his private key, he can access. He's the only one who can access the message that was or the files that were being sent to him. And as you can see, John reads the message, hello. So that's basically it for this video and this section, guys. This was basically the introduction to all that we're going to learn in this course. And in the next video, or in the next section, excuse me, we're going to actually go into setting up the basically the deep web environment. So yeah, guys, thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions, let me know in the Q&A section of the course. Thank you for watching.